सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्म उपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत्। अनिराकरणमस्तु निराकरणं मे अस्तु। तदात्मनि निरते य उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ इत्येतदक्षरमुद्गीतमुपासीत ॐ इति ह्युद्गायते तस्योपव्याख्यानम्। चालू है आवड़ा चालू है। अच्छा एतेन मातरिश्वा व्याख्यातः एतेन वेद व्याख्यानेन मातरिश्वापि वेदाश्रयः वायुः व्याख्यातः। एतेन मातरिश्वा व्याख्यानेन for the Vyakhyanam, by the discussion on Matarishva, on Vyad, Vyad Vyakhyanena. The discussion that was carried out about Vyad or the space, in the same manner we should understand that Matarishva api Vyakhyataha, Matarishva, the Vayu, says Vyad Ashraya Vayu. The reason why the Vayu also, air also falls in the same category as the space is because air is Vyad Ashraya. It is an effect of Vyad, it is a effect of space, and therefore the kind of criteria that apply to space also apply to air. Tatrapi ete yathayogam paksha rachayitavyaha. So tatrapi, in case of the Vayu also, ete yathayogam paksha rachayitavyaha. थोड़ा आवाज नानो कही सका है, हाँ? the various opposing standpoints also should be constructed in the same manner. For example, as Ratnabhava says, tat teja asrujatati shrutehe akashad vayu iti shrutya viroda asti navayati. Tat teja asrujata, Brahman created teja or fire. That's what the Chhandogya Upanishad says. Akashad vayu, whereas the Taittiriya Upanishad says that Vayu was created, was born of Akasha, the space. In the Shrutya, Virodha Astinava. Whether is there a Virodha or is there a contradiction between these two Shrutis or not? Iti Ekvakyatva Bhava Abhavabhyam. Whether these two passages of Shruti, do they convey a unity of purport or do they convey different ideas? Whether the same idea is conveyed by the two Shrutis or are different ideas conveyed by them, so some share whether this is so or not. The idea is tat teja asrujata. That means that the fire is the first element created, and that Chhandogya Shruti does not mention the creation of space or air. Whereas the Taittiriya Shruti mentions the two, and it says clearly Akashad Vayu, that Vayu was created from Akasha, from space. So do these two statements mean the same or not? Meaning that should understand, by the Chhandogya Shruti, should understand that Akasha and Vayu also were created, that Akasham Srishtva Vayu, then Vayum Srishtva Teja Asrujata. Should understand it that way, having created space and then having created Vayu, then Brahman created fire. This is what will happen if you accept the Taittiriya Shruti. Then, meaning that, should we understand the statement of Taittiriya Upanishad in light of the Chhandogya or the other way around? How should we construe these two Shrutis? If both are equally right, then both of them convey different ideas. In that case, there is a contradiction between the statements of Upanishad, in which case Upanishad cannot be Pramanam. Therefore, the Gauna Purva Paksha, or what we call the Ekadeshi, said, Vyat na Vyat Ashrutehe. So, na Vayu Ashrutehe. We should understand that. Similar Paksha also we should construct here. So, how the Ekadeshi or Gauna Purva Pakshi, meaning even though he is a Vedantin, he still acts as a Purva Pakshi in a way, how he said that Vyat is not created. Meaning that Chhandogya is a main Shruti and the Taittiriya also should be understood in keeping with Chhandogya. So, the space and air are not created. Then answer was Astitu. But then the Purva Pakshi, main Purva Pakshi said, Astitu. Who says that? Ashrutehe. Who says there is no Shruti statement talking about the creation of space? Astitu. So tasmadva etasmad atmana akasha sambhutah. That very clearly says that akasha is created. So then the Gauna Purvapakshi said, Gauni asambhavat. Even though the Taittiriya Upanishad mentions or talks about the creation of space, it should be understood in a secondary sense, not in a primary sense, as those spaces created. Why if so? Asambhavat, because the causes required for creation of space are not there. Therefore, space could not possibly have been created. Therefore, the Taittiriya Shruti must be understood as in a secondary sense, in a figurative sense. So then Shabdacha, it said, that there are Shabdas also. Akashvat nityagatas, Akashavat sarvagatascha nitya. That Atma is Nitya, and sarvagat, all pervasive, nitya, like akasha. So akasha is presented there as the drishtanta, and it could not be so unless akasha was nitya. These statements, vayuscha, antariksha, etat, amrutam, that vayu and antariksha, both the air as well as space are immortal. So these statements are there which seem to convey the nityatvam, the eternality of vayu. Therefore, vayu is not created. And then of course, like Brahma Shabdavat, so just as Brahman also is used in primary sense and secondary sense also, so also Sambhava is used in primary and secondary sense, that also is understood. If this Purva Paksha is built, then Pratignya ahanihi avyatarekat shabdaischa shabdaihi shabdebhya. So Pratignya ahani as well, all of Pratignya ahani, only then will the Pratignya, the proposition of the Upanishad will not be affected. What is the proposition of Pratignya? Yena ashrutam shrutam bhavati, amatam matam, avijñātam vijñātamiti. So that by which everything is as well listened to, thought about, and meditated upon or known. Meaning that by knowing which everything is as well known. So eka vijñānena sarvajñā pratigñā. So Siddhanti says that pratigñā is very important because the rest of the Upanishad is all meant to only explain or convey the idea of this pratigñā, how everything is known by knowing one. That is the theme of the entire Upanishad. And so Shabdebhya, same pratigñā is conveyed also by different Shabda, by passages. Yatha ekena mrutpindena saram mrunma vijñātam syāt. How by knowing the one particle of clay, everything made of clay is as well known, showing thereby that by knowing the material cause, the effects are as well known. And therefore, Brahman is presented as a material cause. This pratigñā will be affected if you say that space is not created, space also is eternal, like Brahman is, then by knowing Brahman, space is not known, in which case this pratigñā will be affected. The only way this pratigñā proposition is not affected if everything is created from Brahman, if Brahman is the material cause of everything. And therefore, space also must be created, air also must be created. Yavad vikaram tu vibhagaha lokavat further. And also an anumanam is presented. Yavad vikaram tu vibhagaha lokavata. And therefore, akasha karyam. The space also, vayu also is karyam. Vibhaktatvat ghatadivatiti. That vayu also must be accepted as karyam, as a product, as an effect. Vikaraha. Vayuhu vikaraha. That vayu also is vikara, a modification, a karyam, a product or an effect. Vibhaktatvat, because it is vibhakta, it is something that is separated from other elements. Ghatadivat, like ghata. So just as ghata, pata, etc. are separated from other entities, and therefore then they are karya also. So lokavat, in loka meaning that in our day-to-day observation we find that these two things always go together. Wherever karyatvam is there, wherever vikara is there, wherever modification is there, vibhaga is invariably there, this separatedness is always invariably there. So when you find one, the other must be there. If two things always to go together, then when you find one, the other must be there. Yatra yatra dhumaha, tatra tatra vannihi. Wherever the smoke is, there the fire must be. So if you find smoke, fire must be there. And so the vayu also is vibhakta, meaning it is also separated, therefore it is vikara. it is a modification, it is a product, effect. So this was the line of arguments. So yatha yogam paksha rachayitavyaha. Since this vyakhyanam, this explanation is on the same lines as the explanation of space, there were similar sequence of arguments also should be understood in case of Vayu as well. So Bhashyakar himself states those pakshas. Na Vayu utpadyate, na Vayu ashrutehe. That will be the first sutra. What does it mean? Na Vayu utpadyate. That Vayu or air is not created. Why is that? Chhandogyanam utpatti prakarane anamnaditi. Because the followers of the Chhandogya Veda, Chhandogya Upanishad, they do not mention the creation of Vayu or air, therefore it is not created, it is Ekaha Paksha. This is the Gauna Purva Paksha or Ekadeshi. Astitu Taitriyanam Utpatti Prakarane Amnanam Akashat Vayuti Pakshantaram. And so the main Purva Pakshi says Astitu, but there is a Shruti. Who says the Shruti is not there? There is Shruti. Taitriyanam Utpatti Prakarane. When it comes to the discussion of Utpatti or creation, then for the followers of the Taittiriya Shakha, Akashat Vayuti Amnanam. They clearly say that from Akasha, Vayu is created. Iti Pakshantaram Mukhya Purva Paksha. Tatascha Shrutyoho Vipratisede Sati. So now, if you accept this Purva Paksha, that because Taittiriya says Vayu is created, because Chhandogya says Vayu is not created, then Shrutyo Vipratisede Sati. Because there is a contradiction between the two statements of Shrutis. Gauni Vayu Utpatti Asambhavat, Gauni Asambhavat. It is not right that you should interpret the Shruti in a manner that Shruti becomes apramanam. This is not the right way of arguing or thinking. A way of thinking which concludes in saying that the Shruti is not pramanam, is not the valid means of knowledge, is not the proper way of thinking. The proper way of thinking is to arrive at this conclusion that Shruti is pramanam. Therefore, Gauni. So, Gauni Asambhavat iti. So, Vayoho Utpatti Gauni. Even though Taittiriya Upanishad says Vayu is created, we should take it only in a secondary sense because Asambhavat, the cause is for. And in this case, Asambhavat is different. So, Bhashyakara said, Asambhavascha Saesha Anastamita Devata Yad Vayuti Astame Pratishedhat. In case of Vayu, Asambhavat has a different meaning. In case of Akasha, Asambhavat meant that the causes required for creation of Akasha are not there, therefore the creation of Akasha is impossible. In case of Vayu, Asambhavat is the other statements. Sa esha anastamita devata yad vayu. This devata called Vayu is anastamita. It never sets, it never ceases to be, it always is, meaning that it is eternal. Iti astamaya pratishedhat. So that Shruti clearly denies the astamaya, the setting or disappearance of Vayu. Vayu never disappears, never goes out of sight, is always there. Amrutatvadi shravanach, that is the Shabdat. Vayuscha antariksham cha etat amrutam. The Upanishad said that the Vayu as well as Antariksha, the air as well as space, both of them are immortal. So if they are immortal, they could not have been created. Therefore, even though Taittiriya talks about creation of Vayu, we should understand only in a as though created and not really created. So says Ratnaprabha, अस्तमय प्रतिषेध मुख्य उत्पत्ति असंभवे लिंगम असंभवात. So what's the lingam? What's the chinnam? What's evidence that the Vayu is not created? Utpatti astame pratishedah. So Bhashyakara mentions that first, Saesha astamita devata yad Vayuhu. The denial of astamaya, the denial of disappearance is the primary reason why we say that the Vayu is not created. Vayuscha antariksham chaitamrutamidi tasyeva lingasya abhyasah. So, in one place it is said that Vayu is immortal. No, Vayu is never disappears, meaning Vayu is always there. And again it is said that Vayu and Antariksha, there as well as space, both of them are Amrutam, immortal. Not saying anything new, saying the same thing actually. So that statement is looked upon as Abhyasa, as Abhyasa, repetition, to emphasize. Abhyasa or repeating an idea, the purpose of repeating an idea is to emphasize that idea. Vayureo vyashti samashtischeti sarvatmatvalingantaram adi padartha amrutattvadi shravanat. What is that adi? Vayureo vyashti samashtischa. Vayu alone is vyashti, the individual, samashti, the total. Same Vayu is present in the individual, same Vayu is present, the vital air is present in the cosmos as well. So Vayu is both the individual as well as cosmic. Meaning that Vayu is, or Vayu means as vital air, is present in all the beings. So it is what? Sarvatma. So that statement, Vayureva vyashtihi samashtischa, that statement presents Vayu as Sarvatma, as the self of all, and therefore it is immortal. Ratnava continues, Tatha samvarga vidyayam vayurhevaetan sarvan ajñādin samharati. In Chhandogya again, samvarga vidya, in the story of the king Janashruti and Raikva, where Raikva gives the Upadesha to Janashruti about the Samvarga. Vayu eva etan sarvan ajñādin samharati. There, Vayu is praised, Vayu is extolled. Because in Samvarga Vidya, Vayu is presented as the object of meditation, that which is to be meditated upon. How do you meditate upon Vayu? So what's so special about Vayu? That it is Samvarga, Samharati, the Vayu swallows everything. The earth may disappear, the water may disappear, the sun and moon may disappear. All of this disappear. Vayu does not disappear. Even in the deep sleep state also, our sense organs have been sleeping, the mind is sleeping, but the Vayu does not go to sleep. Anastamaya. Therefore, you can say that at the individual level, the Vayu has swallowed everything. The Vayu swallowed the organs of perception, organs of action, Vayu swallowed the mind, it swallowed everything. And itself continues to remain. Similarly, at the cosmic level also. The sun disappears, the moon disappears, but Vayu never disappears. Vayu is always there. So that way you can say that Vayu swallows everything. Iti Shabda Matrena Aishwarya Shravanam. Aishwarya Shravanam. Therefore, the greatness of Vayu is stated there, in that statement there, that Vayu eva etan sarva ajnadin samharati iti. Shabda matrena Aishwaryam, natu artha matrena. If you just look at the words, then Vayu seems to be the most glorious or greatest. But if you look at the meaning, it is only for that particular case, meaning that Vayu is praised here, extolled here, because Vayu is presented as the object of meditation. On the day of wedding, Vararaja is always the greatest, Previous day he may be anything. Next day he may be anything. Just a little servant. Poor fellow is nothing. On the day of wedding, he rides the horse and he is dressed as a prince. So always everything is extolled when their time comes. That doesn't mean he is a prince. That day he is extolled as prince. So because the Vayu is most important, because Vayu is to be meditated upon there, it is praised as the most powerful of all the devatas. And the most powerful swallows all other devatas who are less powerful. Shabda matrena Aishwarya Shravanam Lingantaram Grahyam Etai Lingai Vayu Anadi Ananta Iti Pratitehe. From these lingas, that Vayu is immortal, that Vayu follows everything, looks like Vayu is Anadi Ananta. It is beginningless as well as endless, meaning it is eternal. Iti pratite. So when you simply look at the statements, the pratiti, the primary or the immediate conclusion would be Utpatti Gauni, that Vayu is Anadi, Ananta, Vayu is beginningless, endless, eternal. Therefore, the Utpatti, the creation of Vayu, should be Gauni, should be only in a secondary sense, not in a primary sense, because the creation of Vayu, if you accept Vayu as created, then all these Shruti statements will be contradicted. And therefore, we should take the Utpatti or creation of Vayu in secondary sense. Iti avirodha shrutyoho. In that way, avirodha. Chhandogya becomes Mukhya Shruti and Taittiriya must be interpreted in keeping with Chhandogya. In that case, there is no contradiction between those two Shrutis. Iti prapte, which is all right. For establishing the Pramanya of the Upanishad, this line of argument may work. But that line of argument does not work when we go to Pratignya, Eka Vijnanena, Sarva Vijnanam, when we go to that Pratignya. Then, if Vayu is not created, then that Pratignya will be affected. So for Pratignya not to be affected, Vayu also must be created, as space also must be created, and must be created from Brahman, meaning that they should not be non-separate from Brahman. Then alone this Pratignya, by knowing Brahman, everything can be known, will be satisfied. Pratipapadeshita pratignya shrutehe. Ultimately, what is even the purpose of saying that tat teja asrujata, tat apa asrujata, tat annam asrujata, that Brahman created fire, Brahman created water, Brahman created earth? What is the purpose ultimately? What these statements are meant for what? Not simply talking about creation. What is the purport? What's the purpose there? Is to in fact support the earlier statement. Eka vijnanena sarva vijnanam. By knowing one, you know everything, only to support that statement. All the subsequent things are stated. And therefore, if subsequent things are stated in such a manner that pratigna itself is violated, what's the point? So here the Vedantin says that Chhandogya says Tat Teja Asrujata does not mention the creation of air and space. Okay. Mentions only the creation of three elements. Understand? But ultimately, what is the purpose of all that elaborate description? Is only to prove this pratigna or this proposition that by knowing Brahman, everything as well becomes known. By knowing Sat, which is Brahman, everything becomes known. Therefore, pratipipadeshita. So, pratipadetum ishtaha. So, that's Shruti, the pratigna of Eka Vijnanena Sarva Vijnanam. That is what the purpose of the whole Upanishad is to in fact delineate that, is to explain that, is to elaborate that. Therefore, in the Chhandogya Upanishad, idea is the creation is not the important part, the pratigna is the important part. By knowing one thing, everything becomes known is important and not creation. Therefore, you cannot take that creation passage and distort the pratigna. The pratigna was distorted by the Purva Pakshi in many ways, the Ekadeshi. That look, Akasha is not separate from Brahman in space and time, and therefore by knowing Brahman, Akasha as well becomes known, just as by throwing some drops of water in milk, so when you take up the milk, water as well is taken up. And this way, he is distorting the very pratigna in order for sustaining that creation. No, it should be the other way around. That pratigna is the primary thing in this Upanishad. And everything must be interpreted in keeping with the pratigna and not the other way around. So, pratipivadeshita pratigna shrute baliyastvat. That pratigna shruti, the statement of Shruti which says that by knowing one everything as well becomes known, is stronger than the Shruti of creation. Tat sadhakanam tatra tatra vayu utpatti vakyanam bhuvestvat. And that pratigna or proposition of knowing everything by knowing one will be satisfied only if that one is the material cause. The Sat or Brahman is material cause, the Upadana Karanam, then alone that pratigna will be satisfied. Therefore, not only should Vayu be created, but Vayu must be created from Brahman. So even though Taittiriya Upanishad says, Akashad Vayu, that from space Vayu was created, it is not from space, it is Brahman. So Brahman that manifests itself as space, from that the Vayu is created. So everything must be a product of Brahman. Then alone, by knowing Brahman, everything becomes known. Tatra tatra vayu utpatti vakyana bhuvestvat. Akashat vayu. So utpatti of vayu is clearly stated. Elsewhere also, the utpatti of vayu is stated. So bhuvestvat. The statements talking about the creation of Vayu are many. Ukta vivaktvadi linga anugrahacha and ukta vivaktvadi linga Vayu vikaraha vivaktatvad ghatadivat. The Vayu is vikara, modification, a product. Vivaktatvad because it is separated from other elements, ghatadivat, like ghata is. Meaning that this Shruti of the Vayu, creation of Vayu, Utpatti of the Vayu is further supported by inference. So we are using inference not as a pramanam, we are using inference as the supporting pramanam. So it makes sense. The idea is that we always apply reasoning to understand what the Shruti says, because what the Shruti says should make sense. So when Shruti says Vayu is created, it makes sense because Vayu must be Vikara, because it is Vibhakta, it is separated. Therefore, Vivaktatvadi Linga Anugrahacha. Again, Vayu Anitya anitya gunashrayatvat ghatadivat etc. Again, Vayu is impermanent because it is locus of impermanent attributes. So these are the additional reasonings, Mukhya eva Vayu utpatti. Therefore, as far as Siddhantin is concerned, the utpatti of the Vayu or creation of Vayu is Mukhya. Then we will reconcile between the different statements of the Shruti, but it is not by compromising the creation of Vayu. तथा च आकाशम वायम च सृष्ट्वा तेजः असृजते इति श्रुत्योः एकवाक्यतया ब्रह्मणि समन्वयः. Therefore, we should understand this Shruti in this manner. Akasham vayam च सृष्ट्वा, having created Akasha, then Brahman created Vayu, and then created Tejaha or fire. Iti Shrutyoho ekavakyataya. And therefore, both the Taittiriya Shruti and the Chhandogya Shruti, both of them convey the same idea, the same unity of purport is there. Brahmani samanvaya. Therefore, ultimately, the main topic is Brahman. Idea, otherwise, the main topic would be something else. So, Brahmani samanvaya. Meaning that all the Shrutis have samanvaya, they all reconcile with Brahman as the primary subject matter. लिंगानि तु उपास्य वायुस्तावकत्वात् आपेक्षिकतया व्याख्याने मुख्य सिद्धांतमः. But how about explaining that statement that सा एषा अनस्तमिता देवता यद वायुः, that Vayu never suffers from disappearance. Vayu is always there. How do you explain that? Or Vayuscha Antariksham cha etad amrutam. That Vayu and Antariksha both are immortal. So how do you explain those statements? Upasya Vayu stavakatvat. Those statements must be understood under Arthavada. Arthavada means not Swarthe Pramanyam. Those statements are only stavaka for extolling Vayu because Vayu Upasya is the Devata to be meditated upon. Therefore, this should be taken in secondary sense, not in primary sense. Apekshikataya vyakhyani. So Vayu is immortal, all right. Amrutaha divaukasaha iti vata. Just as we say that divaukasaha, the devatas are immortal. But devata is not immortal in a primary sense, in a figurative sense. Similarly also, immortal Vayu misunderstood only in a secondary sense. Iti mukhya siddhantamaha. Then mukhya siddhanta pratigna ahanihi avyataikat shabdebhyah. And then yavad vikaram tu vibhagah. So this is how lokavat. So these are the siddhanta sutras. So then Bhashyakara says now, Pratignya anuparodhad yavad vikaram cha vibhaga abhyavagamad utpadyate vayuhu iti siddhantah. Pratignya anuparodhad. The pratigna is not obstructed. Pratigna will not be obstructed only if Vayu is created. Pratigna anuparodhat yavad vikaram cha vibhaga abhyavagamat. Yavad vikaram to vibhaga. When we accept that there is, wherever vikara is there, wherever modification is there, vibhaga or separatedness also is there. Utpadyate Vayu iti siddhanta. And therefore, Vayu is created. This is the siddhanta. यत्तु वायोः अस्तमय प्रतिषेधात् उत्पत्तेः असंभवः. So the Ekadeshiyar said because Vayu is anastamaya, it does not said therefore Vayu is internal. To that Bhashyakara says Astamaya Pratishedha Apar Vidya Vishaya Apekshika Astamaya Pratishedha, the denial of Astamaya, the denial of setting, denial of disappearance is apekshika, is taken only in a relative sense. Why? Apar vidya vishaya. Because the apar vidya vishaya, this is a vidya of meditation, this is not the Brahma vidya. So these statements of anastamaya and amrutattvam, all of these are in the context of meditation, not in the concept of Brahma Vidya. Therefore, this statement is not strong enough. So therefore, apar vidya vishaya apekshika. Therefore, the anastamaya, that should be taken only in the relative sense, not in the primary sense. Bhashyakara says, Ajñādīnām iva Vayoho Astamaya Abhāvāt. Ajñādīnām iva Vayoho Astamaya. Why do you say that? Vayu does not say why? Ajñādīnām, because other devatas, Agni others are seen to quieten. Agni is put off. So, when the fuel is burned out, there is no more fire. So, fire, water, earth, all of these are seen to disappear from our sight, but then air never disappears, air is always there. Therefore, in that sense, in relation to other devatas, Vayu is eternal, but not eternal in the primary sense. Just as the devatas can be called eternal with reference to human beings, because devatas enjoy a very long life. And therefore, they can be called immortal or amara with reference to human beings. Similarly also, the Vayu can be called anastamaya, anastamita devata with reference to Agni and other devatas. Therefore, its appearance or always existence is only in a relative sense. Vayu also is not there in deep sleep state, Vayu also is not there in the pralaya state, and therefore you cannot say the Vayu is always there. In pralaya, in dissolution, the Vayu is not, and therefore the ever existence or ever presence of Vayu is only in a relative sense. Amrutatvadi shravam tari katham. What about amrutatvadi shravana? What about immortality? So Bhashyakara says, Kruta pratividhanam cha amrutatvadi shravanam. So this has been refuted. Amrutatvadi shravanam kruta pratividhanam. With reference to the immortality of the Vayu, already the answer has been given. Just as the immortality of the space also is relative, as we said earlier, Amrutaha Devaukasaha. Just as devatas are immortal in a relative sense also, Vayu is immortal in the relative sense. Says Nyaya Nirnaya. That already we've seen that. Pratignya vakyartha pradhanyat tat upvadaka vayu utpatti pratipādaka vakyānām ca bahutvat mukhya bhūtah tu ābhyām baliyah. मुख्य भूतस्त्वाभ्याम बलियस्त्वाद अमृतत्व अस्तव निषेधौ आपेक्षिकत्वेन नेयौ. Already we saw this. Pratignya vakyartha pradhanya, because the pratignya vakyam eka vijnanena sarva vijnanam, that's the pradhana vakyam. Tad upapadaka vayu utpatti pratipada vakyānam bahutvad. And the vakyas supporting that pratignya, which talk about the creation of vayu also, are many in support of that pratignya. Mukhya bhutah, therefore, abhyam baliyastatvat. As far as the statement of pratignya is concerned, it is stronger than these two statements of anastamaya of the vayu and amrutattva of vayu. The pratignya statement is stronger. Therefore, amrutattva astama nishedau apekshikatvena neyo. Therefore, the nisheda, the denial of astamaya, that immortal, and the denial of the astamaya must be taken only in a secondary sense. Okay. What is Kruta Pratividhanam? Krutam Pratividhanam Apekshikatvena Samadhanam Yasya Tat Tatha Amrutatvadi Shranam Kruta Pratividhanam. So Kruta Pratividhanam is a Bahuviri Samasa. What is it? Krutam Pratividhanam Yasya Tat Kruta Viprati. So Amrutattva Shravanam. The statement of the Shruti about immortal Vayu has already been refuted, has already been answered by Apekshakatvena Samadhanam. That immortality, the Apekshika, is only in a secondary sense. That way, already the immortality has been dealt with. Now then finally says Ratnaprabha, Adhikarana Arambam Akshipya Uktam Adhikashankam Aha. Adhikarana Arambam Akshipya. So now somebody says that, what was the need of mentioning this Vayu separately? Why have you made a separate Adhikaranam, a separate topic, having discussed elaborately this Siddhanta that Akasha is created, when all the arguments about creation of Vayu or creation of Akasha apply to Vayu, then what is the need of creating another Adhikaranam? Because a topic must have something unique. The reason why you take up the Vayu, it has some uniqueness about Akasha, otherwise there is no need to talk about Vayu separately. Meaning that you don't have to create a separate Adhikaranam. This could have been a sutra in the previous Adhikaranam. The previous Adhikaranam itself could have been concluded by Etena Mahatarishva Vyakhya. It could very well be, who knows. Understand that all this set of Adhikaranam is all by Bhashyakara. So Bhashyakara has explained this as a separate Adhikaranam. I don't know if Brahma Sutra Kara has actually defined Adhikaranas, etc. Because different acharyas have a different arrangement. They look upon Brahma Sutra and arrange it in their own way, as it suits them. So here Shankaracharya seems to have chosen to take this Etena Mahatarishva Vyakhyata. Looks like it follows the previous discussion. And this could very well be the last sutra of the previous Adhikaranam. Why do you think that a separate Adhikaranam is required? So, only if this Adhikaranam answers some more Shanka. So previous adhikaranam answered certain doubts. If this adhikaran answers different doubts or more doubts, then only the adhikaran is justified, not otherwise. So Vishaya, Samshaya. And so if Samshaya, if Vishaya and everything is the same, Vishaya is also the same, Samshaya also is the same. Purva Paksha, Uttar, everything is the same. So Purva Paksha also is the same, Uttar Paksha also is the same, Siddhanta also is. Then what is new in this adhikaran? Only if the Samshaya is there, something more must be there. So there Adhika Ashanka Maha. Pashyakara says that this adhikaran does answer some more doubts that the previous adhikaran did not answer. Therefore, this adhikaran is justified. So, nanu ityadina. Says Bhashyakara, nanu vayoho akashasya cha tulyayoho उत्पत्ति प्रकरणे श्रवण अश्रवणयोः एकमेवाधिकरणम् उभय विषयम् अस्तु किम् अतिदेशेन असति विशेषे इति ननु वायोः आकाशस्य च तुल्ययोः उत्पत्ति प्रकरणे श्रवण अश्रवणयोः. So doubts and arguments are the same. Akasha, vayoho, akashasya ta. Of vayu as well as akasha. Tulyayoho, utpatti prakarane, shravana ashravanayoho. So utpatti prakarane, in the context of creation, when it comes to Taittiriya Upanishad, Shravanam, that is the Shravana or mention of the creation of space and Vayu. In case of Chhandogya Upanishad, Ashravanam. Chhandogya does not mention the creation of Vayu. So that both of them applies to space as well as Vayu. Ekameva adhikaranam ubhay vishayam astu. Therefore, the previous adhikaran itself should have dealt with both Vyat as well as Vayu. So maybe Sutrakara could have started Vyat Ashrutehe or Vyat Vayu Ashrutehe. You also could have been saying. So both of them would have been dealt together rather than dealing with them separately. So Ekameva adhikaranam ubhay vishayam astu. Therefore, there must be one adhikaranam. It should have been enough to deal with both these topics, elements, Akasha as well as Vayu. Kimati deshena. Why should we have a different adhikaranam as an extension of the previous one? Asati visheshe. If there is no difference between the two, what is the need of having a separate adhikaranam for discussion of Vayu? Iti. So Bhashyakara says, Adhikam Shankam Darshan Uttaramaha. Bhashyakara shows how this adhikarana answers an additional doubt which did not have the occasion with reference to the previous adhikarana. So, because of certain statements of Shruti, there is the occasion of an additional doubt with reference to Vayu, which doubt had no occasion with reference to space. Therefore, this adhikarana does answer some additional shanka or the doubt. So Bhashyakara says, Uchyate. To that the answer is given. Now says Nyaya Nirnaya, Yaduktam asati visheshe na ati desharthavaniti tadangi karoti. You are right. Uchyate. So, satyameva etat. You are right. You write what? If there was no Vishesha, then what you say is right. Asati Vishesha. In fact, if the Vayu had nothing special about it with reference to space, then there was no need for a separate adhikaranam or for Vayu. Then says Jnanena Tarhi Purvena eva adhikaranena gatatvat idam adhikaranam adarabhyamiti. So Vashyakar, you are right. If there is no Vishesha, there is no need for adhikaranam. In that case, why have you started new adhikaranam at all? Tatra, so Vashyakara wants to show that there is a Vishesha, there is a difference here. Tathapi mandadhyam shabda matra krita shanka nivrityartha hai ayam atideshah kriyate. Tathapi mandadhyam, for the people of dull intellect, shabda matra krita ashanka nivrityartha hai. If you take merely words and do not explore or do not look into the purport of those words, take just literally, then the Shanka can be created. Although the people who are intelligent do not simply go by the words, they always go by what is intended by the word, the intended meaning they go for. But people who are not so intelligent, not so enlightened, who are not so familiar with the style of the Shruti, might only take the words and then may have their own conclusion. They may come to wrong conclusion only if they take the words and not go for the meaning of the words. So says Ratnabhava, Ya vayurhi eva etan sarvan samrungte ityadi shabdamatram shankamulam. Because the glory of the Vayu is stated there, that Vayu swallows all the other devatas. So, if you just take that statement literally, ityadi shabdamatram shankamulam. If that statement is interpreted literally, then that will cause a shanka. Narthaha. Although you take the meaning of the statement, then you know that Sarvan etan samrukti, that he swallows everything, is only in the secondary sense, not in the primary sense. Iti dyotanartha matrapadam, meaning that these statements can create shanka if they are taken literally and not explored with a reference to the intended meaning. The Vashyakara said, Tathapi mandadhyam shabdamatra kruta ashanka nivrityartha. So if you just take literal meaning, it says Vayu is anastamaya. Vayu never suffers at extinction. Vayu is always there. The statement says. How do you say that Vayu is created? So this doubt could be there. No, this statement is not there with reference to air, space, understand. In Samvarga Vidya, the Vayu is the specific one that is mentioned. Space is not mentioned. Even the space swallows Vayu also. Actually, space swallows Vayu also. But then still, Vayu, because Vayu is the object of meditation, therefore, that Vayu is followed by space is conveniently not mentioned. And therefore, Vayu is presented there as the most powerful deity, not mentioning space. So therefore, to a person who is thinking, this should become clear that the Vayu is presented as the almighty or most powerful deity only as a praise and not in a literal sense. But then, if one does not look into that and insists upon taking the statement literally, then the doubt can be there. So these additional statements are there with reference to Vayu. Which similar statements are not there, particularly this one. As far as Antariksham and Vayu, Amrutatvam is concerned, both Vayuscha, Antariksha, Antariksham Chetat Amrutam, both of them are there. But then Vayurhaitan, Sarvan, Agnyadin, Samharati. That Vayu destroys, swallows all the other devatas, that is peculiar to Vayu. That in case the Vishesha is there, that this doubt can be created. So Shanka Nivrutyartha Ayam Atidesha Kriyate. For eliminating the doubt, this Atidesha, this extension is done in this particular Adhikaranam. Sri Ratnavrava Tam Eva Shankam Aha. So what kind of Shanka, what kind of doubt would this statement create? Bhashyakara Samvarga iti. Samvarga Vidyadishu Hi Upasyataya Vayoho Mahabhagatva Shravanat Astamaya Pradishedadibhyascha Bhavati Nityatva Kasyachit iti. Samvarga Vidyadishu, in other Vidyas also. In fact, Upanishads present Vayu or Prana or vital air as the object of meditation very often. So Prana enjoys a very unique place in the Vedas. Because we see that the Prana or the vital air keeps the whole universe throbbing. The Vayu keeps the individual also alive and throbbing. And so also the Vayu, the cosmic air, keeps the whole universe throbbing. Therefore it's called Sutratma. So like Sutra, it pervades everything and it is Antaryami, it controls everything, and that being the case, not Antaryami, Sutratma. So Sutratma or the cosmic vital air is responsible for the dynamism, the throbbing of the whole universe. Therefore, Vayu is the most important deity. And Vayu or the Prana, the vital air is what provides the vitality to your body. And therefore, it is the most important. Therefore, Vayu is praised in many places. Therefore, these stories are also there as to how there was this debate or quarrel among different organs, different pranas, different sense organs, and etc., mind, etc., that who is great, I am greatest, I am the greatest. So all of these stories are told to establish also that the Vayu is the greatest. Therefore, Samvarga Vidyadishu, in the meditation with Samvarga as well as in other meditations also, Upasyataya Vayoho Mahabhagatva Shravanat. Vayoho Mahabhagatva Shravanat. Vayu is the most glorious. But why Upasyataya? Because it is a deity to be meditated upon. Therefore, Astamaya Pratishedadibhyascha. Astamaya Pratishedah. Saesha Anastamita Devata Yad Vayuhu. How there is a denial of Astamaya, denial of disappearance of Vayu. Bhavati, so Adi, Pratishedadi, Adi is what? Says Ratnaprabha, Vyasti Samasti Upastihi Vayam Disham Vatsam Veda. So Vayu Vyasti Samastischa. Vayu alone is Vyasti as well as Samasti. There also the Vayu is glorified further. Vayam Disham Vatsam Veda. Who is Vayu? Disham Vatsam, the son, the calf of Disha. Vayu is the Vatsa means calf, or the child. Dik means the quarter, so the directions. So Vayu is the child of directions. One who meditates upon Vayu, iti upastisya adi shabdartha hai. And therefore, all this Samvarga Vidyadishu, in Samvarga Vidya and elsewhere, Vayu is presented as the deity to be meditated upon. Therefore, bhavati nityatva ashanka kasyachiditi. Somebody, it is possible that these statements may create an ashanka or a doubt in the mind of somebody that Vayu is nitya. Therefore, this separate adhikaranam is justified. That's what Bhashyakara says. द्वितीयम् आदिपदम् अमृतत्व श्रवणम अभ्यासम च संगृह्णाति अस्तमय प्रतिषेधादिभ्य another adi. This samvaga vidyadi, that adi talks about the different meditations. Sayo vayum disham vatsam veda. So one meditates upon vayu, which is the calf of the dig or disha. That is the different meditation. That's the first adi, samvaga vidyadishu. Then astamaya pratishedadibhya, there is another adi there. So dvitiyam adipadam amrutatva shravanam abhyasam cha samgrannati. Amrutatva shravanam vayuscha antariksha cha etad amrutam, that. And then abhyasrana abhyasam cha, and the repetition of similar statements is the other adipadam. See, Nyayana, Amrutattvadi Shravanasya Kruta Pratividhitvat Katham Tadvad Ashankayat Tadvashat Ashankayati. But already it has been answered that the immortal Vayu is a relative sense. How can it still create doubt? Kasyajit, somebody. So that is why Tathapi Mandadhyam, somebody who is of dull intellect may not have gotten the message even through that argument. Therefore, it is possible that this doubt may persist in the mind of somebody. Kasit iti, what is it iti? Says Nyayana, pratignya anurodhadina vayoho nityatva anupapattehe uktatvat tat karane ब्रह्मणि उक्तत्वात् तत्कारणे ब्रह्मणि समन्वय सिद्धतेति उपसंहर्तुम इति शब्द है. प्रतिज्ञा अनुरोधादीना वायो नित्यत्वात्. In giving the pratignya, so vayo nityatva anupattehe. A pratignya of knowledge of everything by knowing of knowledge of one is to be sustained. Then vayu cannot be nitya. Vayu cannot be uncreated. Uktatvat karane tat karane brahmani samanvaya siddhati. Therefore, Brahman, which is the cause of vayu, upadana karana of vayu, that is where the samanvaya. That's the main topic here, and then everything ultimately resolves into Brahman as the main topic. Oh. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinam